My ex lied about being single when we met, so I waited until her wedding day to send the screenshots to the groom's sister. I'm a 28-year-old guy. This all started at a mutual friend's birthday party. One of those loud, overcrowded nights where you expect small talk and free drinks, not life-altering encounters. That's where I met Rachel. She wasn't the most beautiful woman in the room, but she had this magnetic confidence, the kind that draws your attention without even trying. She laughed easily, spoke with intention, and looked at me like she actually saw me, not through me. She told me she'd just gotten out of a toxic relationship, her voice softening when she said it. He made me doubt everything about myself, she confessed. And something in me, the part still bruised from my own failed relationship, understood. We ended up sitting on the balcony for hours, trading stories about heartbreak and second chances while the noise of the party faded behind us. When she gave me her number, it felt natural, like the night had been leading there all along. We started texting every morning and calling every night. She remembered small details. My favorite coffee order, the name of my childhood dog, things most people forget. I thought, finally someone who listens. But looking back, there were cracks I chose not to see. She always said she was too busy for weekend plans. When I suggested posting a photo together, she'd laugh it off. I'm not really into social media. Babe. It sounded reasonable enough at the time. Still, there were moments her phone would buzz, and she'd glance at it with that split-second tension before smiling again. I told myself I was overthinking, that after everything I'd been through, maybe I just needed to trust again. If only I knew how misplaced that trust really was. The weeks that followed felt like something out of a dream. The kind of chapter you don't realize is temporary until it's over. Rachel became my routine, my comfort, my favorite part of every day. She'd stop by my apartment with takeout and this big, teasing smile. "You'd starve without me," she'd say. Laughing as she unpacked containers on my kitchen counter, we'd stay up late watching movies. Her head resting on my shoulder, her perfume soft vanilla and jasmine lingering long after she left. I remember thinking how right it felt. Not exciting in a chaotic way, but safe. It's like maybe I'd finally found someone who understood me. When I asked her about her week, she'd sigh and say, "Just work. My boss is driving me insane." Always vague, never specific. I didn't push. She'd earned my trust with tenderness, handwritten notes on my fridge, little thinking of you messages during my lunch break. Those gestures built a wall of comfort I didn't want to question. Then there were her weekends. Always busy, always family stuff. Sometimes she'd cancel plans last minute with apologies so heartfelt I couldn't stay mad. "I'd rather be with you," she'd whisper over the phone, voice low and sincere. And I believed her, because love, or what I thought was love, makes you blind in the most convincing way. My friends noticed first. "You've been seeing her for months, and none of us have met her?" My buddy Tom asked one night. I laughed it off. "She's private," I said. "Not everyone wants their relationship broadcasted." He shrugged, but I could tell he didn't buy it. Still, I held on to the image of Rachel, the sweet, funny woman who felt like home. Because if I let doubt in, I'd have to face the possibility that none of it was real. It happened on a quiet Wednesday night. I was scrolling through Instagram, half bored, half procrastinating, when I saw a photo that froze me mid-scroll. Rachel, dressed in a navy gown, smiling under soft lights at what looked like a formal event. Her hand rested on a man's arm, and there it was, a silver ring glinting on her finger. The caption read, "Couples Gala Night, #love story." For a second I thought I was seeing things. My stomach dropped as I tapped the photo, but when I went to click her tag, it was already gone, deleted, like it was never there. I tried to breathe, telling myself there had to be an explanation. Maybe it was an old photo. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. But doubt had already started whispering. The next day I showed her the screenshot when she came over. "What's this?" I asked quietly, trying to keep my voice steady. Her face changed, shock, then panic, then tears. "That's my ex," she said, trembling. "He keeps reposting old pictures to mess with me. I told you he was toxic, right? He just wants attention." I wanted to believe her, God, I needed to. So I pulled her close, wiping her tears. Hey, it's okay. I trust you. She nodded into my chest, whispering, I'm so sorry you had to see that. But that night, when she fell asleep next to me, I couldn't shake the image of that ring, and how effortlessly she had explained it away. I stared at her peaceful face in the dark and told myself to stop digging, that love wasn't supposed to feel like suspicion. But deep down, I knew. Something about Rachel didn't add up, and the truth was just beginning to show its face. I don't even know what pushed me to do it that night. Maybe intuition, maybe self-torture. Rachel had just left my place after another long day excuse. I sat there staring at the half-empty wine glass she left behind. My gut was twisting in ways I couldn't ignore anymore. So I opened my laptop, typed her full name into the search bar, and hit enter. At first, it was nothing. Random LinkedIn profiles, old photos, but then I saw it. A wedding website. Her name, her picture. Smiling next to a man in a tuxedo, holding hands under the headline, Ethan and Rachel are forever, begins June 18th. For a moment, I genuinely couldn't breathe. My body went cold, fingers shaking as I clicked through page after page. Engagement photos, registry links, a countdown timer, all mocking me. She wasn't single. She wasn't healing. She was engaged. I scrolled through the Our Story section, reading words that felt like knives. High school sweethearts turned life partners. Every line rewrote my memories. Every romantic dinner, every I miss you, every kiss, suddenly contaminated. My phone buzzed. A text from her, can't talk tonight. Family dinner. Miss you. Just stared at it. The lie hit differently now that I could see the truth in front of me. I didn't respond. Instead, I started taking screenshots, every page, every timestamp, every piece of proof. It wasn't rage yet. It was disbelief, a hollow, sick realization that the person I fell for didn't even exist. I wanted to confront her, to scream, to ask why. But I stopped myself. Something told me the truth wasn't done revealing itself, and if she was living a double life, I was going to expose it carefully. For days, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that damn wedding countdown ticking like a bomb. But instead of exploding, I went quiet, controlled. There's something about betrayal that either breaks you or sharpens you, and in my case, it did both. I started small. I searched their names together this time. Rachel and Ethan, engagement party, Rachel wedding registry. There it was. Smiling photos of them, cutting a cake, surrounded by friends and family. The captions were nauseating, 5 years strong. Can't wait to see you to tie the knot. 5 years. She had been with him for 5 years, which meant when she met me, she wasn't broken from a breakup. She was cheating. I needed to know everything. Through mutuals, I found a coworker of hers on Facebook, someone who had once commented on one of her posts. I messaged her casually, pretending I wanted to surprise Rachel with a congrats gift. The girl happily spilled details where Rachel worked. How excited she was for the wedding, how perfect Ethan was for her. Perfect, I started. Collecting evidence like a detective with a personal vendetta, screenshots of our texts, timestamps of her visits, selfies from my apartment with visible date tags. I even found receipts from her favorite wine brand that matched the ones we drank together. Every piece of data built a timeline, one she couldn't talk her way out of, but I didn't send anything. Not yet. Because part of me wanted her to keep digging her own grave, to keep lying while I quietly watched. Every love you that came after that discovery became a test. And every time she said it, my heart cracked a little more. But my resolve grew stronger. Because when the time came, I wanted my truth to hit like an earthquake, not a whisper. It happened on a rainy Thursday night, the kind where thunder shakes your windows and you start thinking too much. I was in the middle of dinner when I heard frantic knocking at my door. When I opened it, there she was, Rachel. Mascara streaked, trembling, soaked to the bone. "Please," she said, stepping inside before I could even speak. "I can't keep lying anymore." For a split second, I thought she knew that I knew. My pulse spiked. But then she said something I didn't expect. "I'm engaged." Her voice cracked. "But it's not what you think. It's arranged. My family's been pushing it for months. I don't love him. I love you. I just stood there, every instinct screaming at me to call her out. But she looked so broken, so desperate, that the part of me still clinging to her wanted to believe it. I asked quietly, "Then why not call it off?" Tears welled in her eyes. "You don't understand. I can't. My parents would cut me off. Ethan's family. They'd destroy mine. I thought I could handle it, but I can't lose you." She reached for my hand, fingers cold and shaking. "You're the only real thing in my life." Her words hit hard, cruelly beautiful lies wrapped in trembling sincerity. I told her to sit down, handed her a towel, and watched as she scrolled through her phone to show me proof, messages with her mom, complaints about pressure. For a second, I almost fell for it. Then her phone buzzed. The name flashed on the screen. Ethan, and the message read, "Can't wait to call you my wife." Hey. She froze. My eyes met hers. No words, just silence heavy enough to choke on. That's when I realized she didn't come to confess. She came to control the story before it slipped from her hands. After that night, everything changed. I didn't scream, didn't accuse, didn't demand answers. I just shut down. Rachel texted and called for days. Long apologies, voice notes, "You have to believe me" messages, but I didn't respond. I wasn't the broken, desperate guy she expected. I was quiet. And that silence scared her more than any confrontation ever could. I blocked her on my phone but didn't delete her social media. Instead, I watched from a distance, like observing a character in a story I no longer believed in. Within weeks, her posts went back to their perfect rhythm: smiling selfies, brunches, wedding countdown. Stories, captions about true love. She looked radiant, untouched. It was surreal. The same woman who cried on my couch saying she couldn't go through with the wedding now, gushing online about her. Forever. The hypocrisy was almost poetic. Meanwhile, I focused on myself, pretending to move on. But at night, I'd scroll through that wedding website, watching the days tick down. Not out of obsession, out of purpose. I wasn't going to lash out. I wasn't going to ruin her life impulsively. No, I was going to make sure the truth landed exactly where it would hurt the most, at the perfect time. Then, one night, while looking through tagged photos, I found her fiance's sister's profile, Mia. She'd commented under one of Mia's Rachel's engagement photos, "Can't wait to see you walk down the aisle." Her page was public, and suddenly I saw my way in. Mia looked like the opposite of Rachel, grounded, real, no filters. Someone who'd want to know the truth. So I followed her quietly, no messages yet. Just watching, waiting. Because when you've been lied to long enough, patience becomes your sharpest weapon. For a few days, I studied Mia's posts like a strategist preparing for war. Family dinners, beach trips, wedding rehearsals. She posted everything. She seemed genuinely excited for her brother's big day. Constantly tagging Rachel with captions like "My future sister-in-law is glowing." Each word twisted deeper into me, but it also fueled something sharper: focus. I crafted my message carefully. No anger, no emotion. Just truth. "Hi, Mia. You don't know me, but I think there's something you need to see about Rachel before your brother marries her." For an hour, I stared at it, debating. Then I hit send. No reply. Not for 6 hours. Then finally, "Who are you? Is this some kind of joke?" I sent one screenshot: Rachel in my kitchen, wearing one of my shirts. Date and timestamp visible from a few weeks ago. Typing bubbles appeared, then disappeared. A minute later, my phone rang. Unknown number. I picked up. Is this some twisted prank? Her voice was shaking but firm. "No," I said quietly. "It's not. I have proof, messages, photos, everything. She's been cheating on your brother for months. I didn't even know he existed until recently." There was silence on the other end. Then, a deep exhale. "Meet me," she said. "Tomorrow. Somewhere private." The next afternoon, we met at a small coffee shop near her office. She looked furious but composed, the kind of calm that hides a storm. I handed her a folder, Printed screenshots, messages, photos, everything I'd gathered. She went pale as she flipped through them. No denial, no disbelief. Just quiet horror. When she finally looked up, her voice was cold. "Thank you for showing me this. Let me handle it from here." And the way she said it, measured, steady, I knew she meant handle. The morning of Rachel's wedding felt strangely quiet. I woke up before dawn, not out of excitement, but anticipation, that eerie stillness before a storm. I wasn't invited, of course, but I didn't need to be there. My part was already done. The evidence was in Mia's hands. And I trusted her far more than I ever trusted Rachel. I made coffee and sat by the window, scrolling aimlessly, pretending I wasn't waiting for chaos to unfold. Around 10 a.m., my phone buzzed. A message from Mia. Just 2 words. "It's done." I didn't need to. But then, messages started trickling in from mutual friends. "Dude, what happened at Rachel's wedding?" "Bro, did you see the live stream? It's insane." My heart pounded as I opened social media. Within minutes, the story was everywhere. Apparently, Ethan had received the screenshots right before the ceremony. He'd called his sister into a side room, then confronted Rachel in front of both families. Guests heard shouting, then saw him walk out, leaving her standing at the altar in silence. Someone recorded the aftermath. Rachel crying in her gown, makeup streaked, her father arguing with Ethan's parents. The comments were brutal. "Karma," one read. "She deserved it," said another. I didn't smile. Not at first. I just sat there, numb, watching the woman who'd lied so effortlessly finally face the truth. Hours later, Mia texted again. "He's staying with me. He knows everything. Thank you for helping him dodge a bullet." That's when it hit me it was over. The secret, the lies, the control, all shattered in one morning. Outside, rain started to fall again, and for the first time in months, I felt peace. The kind that comes only when the truth finally wins. The next few days felt like watching a storm after it's already torn through town. Quiet. But with damage everywhere you look, Rachel vanished from every social platform within 24 hours. Her wedding photos disappeared, her accounts went private, and mutual friends whispered about what really happened. But screenshots have a way of living forever, and by then, the story had already spread too far to contain. Someone leaked snippets from the wedding. Rachel begging Ethan to please listen, his mother crying, guests awkwardly shuffling out. I didn't share a thing, but I saw the comments. Strangers dissecting her lies, calling her the runaway bride with a secret boyfriend. It should have felt satisfying, but it didn't. It felt heavy, like justice wrapped in sorrow. Then one night I got a message from an unknown number. I opened it and my chest tightened. "You destroyed my life. I loved you." Was that not enough? It was Rachel. I stared at her words for a long time before replying simply, "You destroyed it yourself." She sent paragraphs, crying, apologizing, raging, all within minutes. I didn't answer, because the truth didn't need defending anymore. Later, Mia texted me one last time. "He's heartbroken, but grateful. He says you saved him from wasting years of his life." That hit harder than I expected. I hadn't done it for gratitude. I'd done it because I couldn't stand the thought of someone else living my same lie. That night, I walked outside into the cool air, looking up at the dark sky. The storm had passed, but there was this strange, haunting calm in its place. Revenge hadn't brought joy, but it had brought peace. And sometimes, that's all you need. Weeks turned into months, and life slowly went quiet again. The noise around Rachel's scandal died down, replaced by newer dramas, newer betrayals. That's how the internet works. Outrage has an expiration date. But the silence that followed was something different. Peaceful, but reflective. I started focusing on myself again. Work, the gym, small weekend trips to clear my head. I deleted all the screenshots, the folder labeled truth, the texts that once felt like weapons. I didn't need them anymore. Holding on to proof had started to feel like holding on to poison. Every now and then, I'd hear bits about Rachel. Through mutual friends, I learned she'd moved to another city for a fresh start. Some said she was in therapy. Others claimed she was trying to reconnect with old friends she'd ghosted during her double life. I didn't care to confirm any of it. I'd already lived through enough of her stories. One evening, I bumped into Tom, the same friend who once warned me something was off. "Over beers?" he asked. "So, do you regret it? Exposing her like that?" I thought about it for a long moment before answering. "No, I regret believing her, but not ending the lie." He nodded, silent for once. We didn't talk about it again. I realized that revenge hadn't healed me. Truth had. Knowing that I wasn't crazy, that my instincts were right, that justice found its way to the surface. That's what let me move on. Now, when I think about Rachel, I don't feel anger anymore. Just distance. Like remembering a movie I once starred in, before realizing it was someone else's script, and for the first time in a long time, I wasn't the character being fooled. I was the one who finally walked off set. It's been over a year now. Sometimes I still think about that night at the party, the one where I met Rachel for the first time. It's strange how a single conversation can alter the course of your life. How something that starts with laughter and shared pain can end in quiet devastation. But here's what I've learned. Betrayal doesn't just take away trust in someone else. It steals the version of you that believed love was safe. For months, I carried bitterness like armor. I told myself I was protecting my heart, when really I was just refusing to heal. But healing doesn't come from getting even. It comes from understanding. I see that now. I didn't expose Rachel because I wanted revenge. I did it because the truth deserved daylight, and I refused to live in her shadow any longer. I've moved since then. New city, new apartment, new routines. Some nights, when the air feels still and quiet, I replayed those final moments before her wedding. I imagine Ethan standing there, realizing the person he was about to marry wasn't real. And I imagine Rachel, realizing too late that lies always come back louder than love ever could. I don't hate her anymore. I pity her, because she had someone who would have chosen her. Flaws and all, but she chose control instead. These days, when people ask about my past relationships, I just smile and say, I learned the difference between affection and illusion. And that's enough, because in the end, she wore white to start a lie. I stayed silent to end it. And that silence, that truth, was louder than any vow she ever planned to speak.